play hard to get, but your body's so hard to forget.
Baby, I play hard to get, but your body's so hard to forget.
Baby, I play hard to get, but your body's so hard to forget.
Baby, I play hard to get, but your body's so hard to forget. Baby, I play hard to get, but your body's so hard to forget.
When we're gone, we will run to the
here no more. I'm falling through the cracks in my floors. I'm fading, don't hate me now. I don't wanna be here no more. Let's start with a bang. Get lost in the city lights, drown in a lullaby. We cut like a samurai, sting like a butterfly. It's so hazy, don't blame me now. We're lost in the city lights, cut like a samurai. We cut like a samurai, sting like a butterfly. We're lost in the city lights, cut like a samurai. Let's throw another star in the sky. Let's find another heart to deny. I'm chasing, you're fading out. I'ma put a spark in your eye. Let's start with a bang. Get lost in the city lights, drown in a lullaby. We cut like a samurai, sting like a butterfly. It's so hazy, don't blame me now. We're lost in the city lights, cut like a samurai. We cut like a samurai, sting like a butterfly. Let's start with a bang. I don't wanna be here no more. I don't wanna be here no more. It's so hazy, don't blame me now. We're lost in the city lights, cut like a samurai.
Tonight I'm losing my layers, I'm letting you know. So won't you come back into me where you belong? Losing my layers, I'm letting you know. So won't you come alive? All we ever wanted is to feel alive. And that's why alive. And that's why alive. All we ever wanted is to feel alive.
Limit, you're shutting down. I smell her on you. I'm focused now. I know what's going on in your head, yeah. I know what's happened here in our bed, yeah. Your phone is buzzing, so pick it up. I know she calling, so what the fuck? I should've known that she stays a cheater. So here we are, and there goes the alarm, ringing in my head. Like somebody said, don't you trust him, no. Texting from his ex, what did you expect? Now you're lying here, know where he goes. Now we got that itch, yeah. Karma is a bitch, yeah. Same way that they come, that's the way they go. Now we got that itch, yeah. Rewinding the picture, there goes the alarm. wild boy. I always been a sucker for a wild boy. I'm better than this, I know my worth. I might be getting what I deserve, but I ain't sticking around for the rerun. What's done is done. And there goes the alarm, ringing in my head. Like somebody said, don't you trust him, no. Texting from his ex, what did you expect? Now you're lying here, know where he goes. Now we got that itch, yeah. Karma is a bitch, yeah. Same way that they come, that's the way they go. Now we got that itch, yeah. Rewinding the picture. There goes the alarm and the sirens go.
March 8th, 2018. Welcome. Please sit back and relax and turn your mind on. We here at Team Yahushai will try tonight to bring you somewhat of a different world view, one which entails higher thinking and moving past cognitive dissonance. Tonight, we're going to have Enslaved by No Media, The Truth About Everything, and myself, The Limitless Channel, live. We endeavor to bring to the world a new future, one which needs no oil, no petrodollar. We understand that seeing the forest through the trees is tough, and many will never break free and overstand such topics as over unity, water is fuel, and the true shape of our world. Yet we push on in hopes that you may understand and get involved and share this message with everyone you can. Climb out of the rabbit hole and into the light of truth and be a part of Team Yahushai. And now, the jet plane fuel hoax exposed. Over unity, free energy, flat earth. Let's see the forest through the trees. It's time to buckle up. We're heading off into a better future.
Public notice of nonprofit educational fair use in compliance with Title 17, Section 107 of the United States Copyright Code. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, video media, or video discs under certain circumstances without authorization of the copyright holder. This infringement of copyright is called fair use and is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody. If you check my popular uploads on my channel, Awake Souls, you'll see my video that I did, Air Travel Will Bring the End of the Petroleum Hoax, the second lie of thermodynamics busted, is getting a lot of attention right now. So much so that the shills and trolls are coming out and it's time for an update. This topic has gotten so much attention that the Glowbusters had to come out with, "Get your tinfoil hats on, kids, we're going down the rabbit hole." Now, those serious truth seekers out there already know that down the rabbit hole is like a CIA, MK Ultra programming lingo that refers to COINTEL operations that set up disinformation to spin truth seekers off left and right from the true path. I mean, hopefully all of you real truth seekers out there already know that David Weiss of Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole was one of those eyewitness testimonies used in 9/11. Just like a Hogwarts character in the Florida shooting. It's important to note from the Globebusters hangout that the entire time they were covering the topic of free energy over unity and the airplane hoax that Team Yahushua has exposed, they were playing footage of other channels, other COINTEL channels that are the ones that they are promoting. Now, they did play footage from the person that really broke this open, and that is Enslaved by No Media. He is a Team Yahushua member, and together we are exposing this information to the world. When I see the Globebusters doing what they're doing, I want to let people know that they are the opposition. They are the ones covering it up.
So, okay, guys. So I think we've definitely covered that up. Covered that fairly well.
Good job, guys. Covered it up.
Was that a Freudian slip or what? I don't know. We definitely covered that pretty well. So, okay, guys. So I think we've definitely covered that up. We've definitely covered that up. We've definitely covered that up. Covered that fairly well.
Good job, guys. Covered it up.
Was that a Freudian slip or what? I don't know. We definitely covered that pretty well. And I'm sure much more information is going to come out in the days to come.
All throughout this Globebuster hangout, footage from David of Enslaved by Media was being used, but other COINTEL channels that are trying to jump onto this topic and create rabbit holes to send truth seekers down, these are the ones that the Globebusters promote, and the smallest of shoutouts are given to David of Enslaved by Media.
I'll put all these links in the show notes so people can watch them themselves, and I recommend that you do, because like I said, from Jones's initial take on this to the elaborations that Coop Stoop and all the other channels that have elaborated on it, they make one heck of a case. So much so that I don't know how anybody could walk away from this even believing for 1 second that it's possible, really, that they're using that much fuel. And there's so many other things to consider about this. I just think it's important. I really do. So, like I said, this is why we're going down the rabbit hole on this today.
Now, what's interesting about these rabbit holes is at the bottom of a rabbit hole will be a COINTEL channel that is promoting some truth, but they will also misdirect you and never take you to the true conclusions. Let's see where Jaron wants to direct us.
And if the goal is the truth, that's what you want people to do. Reconsider everything, because a lot of the things that we're told are not the truth. And I know if you've done any work into looking at Victor Schauberger and his whole idea of implosion physics.
Well, let's look up this Victor Schauberger, but add occult to the end of the search. It was nearly the end of World War II. At the same time, scientist Victor Schauberger worked on a secret project. Johannes Kepler, whose ideas Schauberger followed, had knowledge of the secret teachings of Pythagoras that had been adopted and kept secret. It was the knowledge of implosion. Implosion. In this case, utilization of the potential of the inner worlds in the outer world. Hitler knew, as did the Tool and Viral people, that the divine principle was always constructive. A technology, however, that is based on explosion and therefore is destructive runs against the divine principle. Thus, they wanted to create a technology based on implosion. Schauberger's theory of oscillation, principle of overtone sequence monochord, takes up the knowledge of implosion. To put it simply, implosion instead of explosion. Following the energy pass of the monochord and the implosion technology, one reaches the realm of antimatter and thus the cancellation of gravity. So any good flat earther is going to know that aliens, UFOs, spaceships coming from other worlds to Earth doesn't make any sense because the space that we've been taught isn't real and that gravity doesn't exist. Jaren's directing you to an occultist, a COINTEL source that'll tell you some truth but is going to misdirect you. This Victor is easily discredited as working with the Nazis, but at the same time, he's talking about implosions, and there is only one gas on Earth that implodes. This is part of a huge deception.
Find those two atoms together. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Oh my God!
Isn't that amazing?
I'm gonna get a heart attack.
No, show them your hands. Your hands are okay, right?
Yes, everything's fine.
Really, really loud explosion.
Just like Flat Earth requires a great amount of people involved in covering it up, free energy involves all the academics. Most of us have been in a high school class or a college class where a scientist has ignited hydrogen, but not one of those ever explained that it was not exploding, that it was actually an implosion.
Like I said before, man, this is one of those really fascinating topics because, to me, it shows the level of deception that they're potentially capable of. Not necessarily saying that all this is 100% true, but, I like to think it is because the alternative is just so damn scary. If chemtrails are really deadly chemicals being sprayed on everyone, that's really quite terrifying. Especially because the elite who are responsible for it would pretty much necessarily be spraying themselves and their families as well. So that's just a little bit too over the top, I think, to really consider as plausible. And I guess anything's possible, but it makes a lot more sense to me that that is all sort of a smokescreen, a very clever smokescreen. For the fact that they're using, or the potential fact that they're using free energy technologies in the major airlines and possibly in the military applications as well. Because frankly, again, who would really want to spend that kind of money every single time you have to fill up? I mean, it would be the cost of that alone, just fueling up the airplanes, the jets, would be so mind-boggling. It would make a lot more sense for them to find alternatives and, of course, to keep those alternatives a secret from you and me and everyone else publicly. So I don't think that this is, it's not that big of a conspiracy theory. I think it's something that there's a lot of good evidence for, and there's something going on. I'm sure we don't have all the details 100% accurate with our theories, but, I think we've got a good start to say, something isn't right here. Something's going on with the fuel for the planes, and I think it's good to wake people up to this sort of thing, to at least look at it and consider alternatives to things like chemtrails, which to me, again, it's been a long time since I've considered those a smokescreen for the actual thing, and that actual thing is free energy.
That's absolutely true. I think that's what I like to talk about this stuff, or it's so that other people who may think that they know the truth already, but they hear us talking about it and makes them think again and I'm going to go look into this. And those people are usually the ones that are finding even deeper rabbit holes. Deeper rabbit holes.
And this is something we really need to look into. And fortunately, being somebody that does have access to an airport, I don't know, if I'll be able to actually be able to talk to some of these people or not, or if they fire me for even doing so. But I'm certainly going to look into it and see what I can come up with about it, because I think this is absolutely amazing, this particular discovery that these guys have come up with. So that's what I got to say about that. Any other comments, you guys? Uh-oh, did I lose you guys?
hopefully you're getting the point that all you have to do these days in order to spot the COINTEL channels is to listen to who the Globebusters and the Potato Crew shout out. So speaking of the Potato Crew, they're weighing in on this topic as well.
Pull the thing up, the fueling cart up, but when you look into it, the possibilities of the weight being supported by those wings gets less and less likely. However, I am not an engineer. I don't know exactly about how wings are built or the who, what, why, when, and where. I've come to the conclusion that I don't know enough about it to speak on it coherently and come up with a clear-cut decision. But I do think that there's a possibility that planes use less jet fuel than we're being told, at the very least. And you know a lot about planes. I've been to the Air Museum with you in Seattle, and I knew even before we went together, Air and Space Museum, that you just know a lot about a lot of things, but a lot about airplanes.
When we do the drone strike training, we're actually asked to disassemble several small jet engines. So okay. I don't want to dwell on this one, but
this is you. I don't want to dwell on this, but no.
But, okay, it is. I appreciate. Look, I love the fact that Flat Earth changes people into open-minded vessels that can grab anything and latch onto it and say, yeah, this is possible now. I love that aspect of Flat Earth. I really, really do. Something like this, yeah, it's interesting. It's a nice little side project. Am I going to buy it? Nope. It's not one of my favorites. Not even close. And it really doesn't even dovetail into the core Flat Earth concept, other than it's another conspiracy. It's interesting.
There's a plane.
Yeah, if it goes anywhere with it, it's fine. But for me, you're also talking about a different type of guy. You know, I also believe in fission weapons. You know, atomic weapons. I do. I always have, and in the end, I always will for various reasons. But I won't go into them. So for this, it's like, yeah, it's great, wonderful, fantastic. You guys want to enjoy that? It helps the whole open-minded thing. It's not going to be a long-term thing with us. I think the No Forest on Flat Earth will carry a greater distance because it is tied to the core Flat Earth. But
well, Plain Truth did a good video on it. Coop Stoop did a couple of videos.
Oh, yeah.
There's a couple of people that I can't recall their channel names that have done videos. Globebusters' last show this past Sunday in March 2018, they did a show discussing it, and neither Bob nor Jaron said, I 100% believe that they don't use jet fuel. No, they just said they're very open to exploring the possibility.
Yeah, for me, not everybody's going to agree on everything, obviously, on the Flat Earth. When it comes to, for me, though, I put it in the same rank as Dallas Goldbug's facial recognition stuff. How's that? Well, you know, the guy says, like, Jimmy Carter is actually JFK.
Yeah, that's true.
And stuff like that. It's like, yeah, it's interesting. And I love the possibility, and you could turn it into something. But I don't
Bill
think
Hicks, Alex Jones.
Bill Hicks, Alex Jones.
Teeth.
I don't think that the jet thing's interesting. I don't think it's going to have any legs in the long run. So I've got other things to focus on. Like, I should mention this. Like here's a story for example. Can I segue into something?
Yes, please.
Which is something I ran into. The Peanut Gallery actually sent it to me from Russia Today. So when I look at my news sources, I look at CNN, I look at Fox, I look at NBC News, and I look at Russia Today. And every once in a while, Russia Today will put out some.
Absolutely phenomenal. Always the host with the most. That is Jason Laufenberg, the truth about everything, the one they call Awake Souls. And go figure, Mark and Patricia out here completely shilling, gatekeeping. You know, it's okay to talk about flat Earth, and it's okay to talk about no forest on no trees on flat Earth. But as soon as you talk about over unity, free energy machines, it's like, oh, you get shunned. Great video, brother.
Thanks, brother. Do we have Dave here?
Yes, you do.
Oh, sweet. How's it going, Dave?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing well. That was just a intro that I'm working on for a video. I've got some modeling and stuff that I'm going to be doing too.
Well, that gets me all fired up, I'll tell you.
That was great. I really liked how you brought Glowbusters and their content into the mix, showing that not only did they gatekeep when we were exposing the truths about flat Earth, but now they've kind of dovetailed into free energy gatekeepers. What brought you to that? What inspired you to make that move?
Excuse me. I'm sorry, Ron.
Jay.
I'm sorry, I got lost in the question a little bit.
Okay, here, let me do a shout out. AA10011. Shout out to you, Daniel 12, Garrison Cullen, Howie Shea. I don't know if someone's trying to troll us. ROTR, really nice to see you here, brother. And Termocots 9. Thanks everybody for showing up. We try ask as many questions as you can. We might not have Dave here again for another 6 to 8 months, so let's get the best out of him while we got him.
Oh, come on, guys.
Well, I would love to hear from you, Dave, how it feels to have your material all over Glowbusters.
I don't know. I'm glad it's out there, but like the same thing is happening in my comment section, right? It's just being invaded by these shills and trolls, and it's blocking me from communicating to whoever might be, legitimate coming on the channel. So it's disheartening. Chin up. What are you gonna do, right?
Yeah. So could you give us the backstory on how this whole thing exploded and what you're seeing? Like, just give us your perspective.
As far as the plane carrying no fuel hoax goes, and
that topic.
I don't like how it's being played out right now amongst those channels. I'm just trying to get the truth out there any way I can. That's basically it.
Okay. Well, are you excited about it?
What about jets carrying no fuel?
Yeah.
I'm kind of pissed, actually.
Are you?
Yeah, think of all the people traveling all around the world, small businesses got to travel, salesmen going everywhere around the world, and everyone's being soaked for a fuel, a ride, and little do they know they're getting soaked this way, right? No fuel.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty big lie, don't you think?
Oh, it's absolutely huge, because the second that you realize that there's no fuel on the planes, it doesn't take long to extrapolate and figure out that we shouldn't have to pay for electricity either.
Yeah, it's all one big hoax, right? We're battling. We're just trying to get the truth out there, and all these COINTEL channels they're a problem.
Yeah,
so a big problem.
Have you thought about where we might take this? How do we get some action out of this? How do we get something done?
Well, just keep researching it and put out, what we feel is relevant to the story, and just stay on top of it, right? What we need is others out there, showing and exposing, every little bit helps. And these people, they have everyone just sitting back and just watching and not getting involved, and people have a tendency of just sitting back and watching and just not getting involved, right? So it's not like we're taking on a little risk here and doing what we do, right? So
I guess well, like you've probably heard, I came to the realization that I'm in a simulation a long time ago, and that the creator of the world is Yahweh, the God of the Bible. And because of those things, I have confidence where I hate this world, and I wouldn't mind not being here. It doesn't mean that I don't want to exist. The world sucks, right?
Yeah, it does.
So I don't know. That's the reason why I do whatever I do, just totally without fear, because I guess if they want to get rid of me, I'm not going to kill myself. I'm not going to commit suicide. I know it's a sin, and I keep waking up. So maybe if I piss the right person off, I'll be able to get out of here.
Yeah. I guess I just wish more people would get involved, you know. A lot of people, you know, talk and comment, and, you know, 0, 1, 2, 3 subscribers, and you never see any content from anyone. Just, it's frustrating.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you get some people in that are excited now, I know that, you know, because of the stuff that we talk about, you know, we had broached the subject of free energy, and then this Brown's gas, HHO gas, you were the one that you just sort of plowed your own path and dug into it and actually made a test setup, made your own HHO gas, and boom, all of a sudden, because you had done that, because we had seen that experiment done, and we knew it was somebody that we trusted, it just all of a sudden blew doors of potential open for us. And all of a sudden we've been, you know, running around looking at HHO gas and its potential and what it can do for us. So what other free energy things? I know you talked about aerials and stuff like that. What other I don't want to send people down dead end rabbit trails. I want to send them down the ones that we've seen really good potential out of.
Well, HHO has a good potential, right? Atmospheric electricity, I mean, it's being used all over the world right now. There's power in dirt. Dirt.
Right.
I mean, you think of these, where our trash goes, right? They bury it, and you get these big giant mounds, and they get the methane gas out of it. And that's where they're parking all the solar panels and stuff. I mean, they're getting all this free energy and using it and cycling it to us. There's no reason why we can't use it ourselves, right?
Oh,
it's common sense. It's easy to do.
Well, we got a question here from the chat. How can this tech be in homes and cars, etc.? I'll just take a quick first stab at this. Easily, if we compress the air through an engine the same way that it's happening on these jet engines, we can then turn a turbine that will power our house, or we can use a small HHO bubbler to then turn a pump that will turn a PTO shaft on a generator that's more than enough to power a house or two. There's so many free energy technologies. The fact that perpetual motion energy machines are easily being built now, everyone should have a perpetual motion energy plant, on their own property. It's just basic knowledge. The hoax is up. The petrodollar is done, right? We can use water as fuel.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you guys, ask Dave first. What do you think we can use this tech for?
Everything. I mean, you think of the whole infrastructure that's out there right now and all that is hidden from the people, and it's being done right now. And who built all that? It's the men and women, right? To say we can't have it is a hoax in itself, because it's men and women that built everything. It's just the overlords that hold all the patents and treat us like the slaves and what have you. So
they do.
I just think there's so many ways that we could be getting free energy, and it just just like anything else, it needs to be. We need to learn about it. It needs to come out of the closet for the public instead of being hidden.
Yeah. Every body of elevated water, including water towers, if your outlet pipe is hooked up to a turbine, the pressure of the water coming down from the water tower, the pressure of the water coming from a higher lake to a lower lake, every one of these things produces tons of electric. And like Dave was saying, these aerials and grounds, and there really is no reason for any of us to have to pay for electric other than to set up a device that then collects the electric for free.
Yeah. It's only going to come, by grassroots, it's going to come from the bottom up. It ain't going to come down, they're not going to stop lying tomorrow and say, okay, here we go, guys, here it is. It's up to us to build these things, test them out, and get the word out.
So do you guys think maybe like conjunction of, let's say, atmospheric collection, HHO bubbler, and what Jason was saying with the dynamics of water fluid moving? Do you think that we could combine these three, or do you think it'd be efficient for just one?
Water for sure. I mean, long as the property we live on has water, right? Mm-hmm. If you have enough property, you can do aerial. It depends on what you have, and we'll have to work it out, right? Do small experiments, figure out what works best where, and from the ground up, right?
Well, it looks like we can layer technologies upon layer and keep boosting. Like each time we do one of these things, we get another exponential boost of power. And so, yeah, it looks like if we just get started with the first one, get it up and running, then do the next style, and then start looking at ways of combining these technologies, it could get crazy, super crazy.
Yeah, and there's so many of them.
Yeah. This is what they've been holding back from us. And I don't know. I actually see how this fits in with scripture as well. The timing of all this. And because of my New Age experience, I see how it fits with a lot of that stuff as well, including movies and, the things that come right out of Hollywood. I see a pretty clear picture of what's taking place here. And there is like a David and Goliath, a small group of people that are waking up to the truth, and really a mass of people that are either, literally a part of this cover up, or are just okay with it. And they're willing, they're just willing to go along with it.
Yeah,
well, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think a lot of people are genuinely fooled. Everyone's trained in their jobs and education, and they're just not asking the questions. They don't think it's possible, and they think, government's right, TV's right, and that's as far as they'll take anything. So that's all.
Yeah. Well, I think that we need to truly unlearn.
You must unlearn what you have learned.
And we need to have patience, right? And then if we all work together and unlearn what we learn, like we there is a chance, because we all have.
For my ally is the Force.
So,
and a powerful ally it is.
We just got to stay within the Force, guys, and we'll really get there.
Absolutely. Yeah. We'd be smart.
So, Dave, I'm just curious, like, you've already built experiments and you do all this yourself. It's your research. It's the, you choose the supplies, you decide what the experiment is going to be. You do this. In order to get something that's producing either, electricity for our house or is powering the engine of something we drive, like a lawnmower or a car or something like that. How do you see? I really feel that we have to do this as a community and work together, and this be all open sourced and live streamed and exposed live as a group.
Yeah, because you gotta show all the possibilities. You gotta see someone make a mistake, and then people have to get involved. You gotta have other voices. I have no particular skill set. I'm a pool guy. I don't know nothing about electricity and all this stuff. I just you wonder, and then you take it and you go forward with it. You've been lied to. Everything's a lie. So just roll with it. Roll with whatever makes you comfortable in doing, and just try something. I mean, that's what I've done. I just tried things, and surprise.
Yeah. Well, you remember we were all together when we figured out that there was clouds behind the sun and the moon. Through the whole progression, right? We've all been a team. There's a good chance that we've had help from Yahushua, but like, it's amazing how much programming I'm finding. I was going to ask both of you guys, starting with Dave. Are you noticing programming now that you've seen in movies? Like, let's say Die Hard 2, when they had the last scene, the jet was low on fuel. Are you guys having any of those types of actions?
I do when I see it, but I tell you, I don't see much TV, so I can't really. I mean, as close as I come to TV is maybe on YouTube by accident. So I do draw connections to what I am coming across. I try to do it with everything I watch, try to have different insight, different look at things. There's got to be a lie in almost everything that's mainstream, right? So you just got to pick it apart as you're hearing it and just dismantle it on site, and don't let it get into your mind.
Well, and would you agree that as you've broken through some of these big truths, like, flat Earth is a huge one. It draws a line between the majority of people and a very small group. And and then the simulation realization is another, dividing line. What's that?
That's a next level type of
yeah.
Simulation is definitely next level, but it's true. It's definitely a simulation. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, you bring up clouds behind the sun, and 9 out of 10 people will tell you, no. It's something you really have to do on your own. And as soon as you do it one time, there you go. You're ready to deprogram some other stuff.
like you hear the bells, right?
Yeah, that's it.
So, go ahead.
No, it's just an exciting thing to see, When you tell people that are genuinely interested, their first thoughts are like, was it scary? Or it's like, come on. I mean, you do it, the sun's right there. Just pick up a camera and go do it.
Yeah, or the moon. And you can actually see it with your own eyes. Like, I remember my realization after I saw the videos and made the video, I was able to look and then retrospectively remember all the times that I actually saw the clouds behind the moon at night, in the paintings and in the artwork. The unlearning of our indoctrination, it seems to be, the largest thing. And one other thing I wanted to ask you guys. So again, I'll start with, actually this time I'll ask Jason and then we'll go to you, David. Jason, you've been in this game long enough now. You've learned this about a bunch of these hoaxes and these lies. What do you think drives people back into their false sense of reality where they can walk away from the truth?
Comfort and fear. They have comfort and they don't want to lose that, so it creates fear. It's interesting that Yahushua, or Jesus Christ, tells us in the scriptures to, referring to the true truth seekers, to have no fear. And I believe he said that because we're in a simulation, and he knew that. And so many times along the way he tried to explain that to us, but we just couldn't comprehend it because we wouldn't understand what that kind of technology would refer to. So I just want to address a question quick where it says, I don't understand when you say simulation, explain that further. I'm curious, Dave, if you have a way that you said it's a simulation. I say it's a simulation. I know it's a totally loaded term. Do you have any way of conveying what you mean by simulation to people that you could help us with?
I can try by answering Ronnie's question. Is you get, your whole life, you're basically programmed to know what you know, right? So you're all throughout schooling, you're taught things through the television, the radio, through, any kind of social behavior that's going on in society. You're always being programmed in the mind, right? Whether you like it or not, you're being programmed. And to hear simulation in the way that we're talking about it, it's just knowing that, that you're under a programming, but you also have the tools to change it. You can control your own reality with your thoughts. And that's, I don't know, simulation is just, it's what we're living in.
Yeah, well, and I always point people to, look, there's clouds behind the sun. We can clearly see that. And so explain a sun that's in your circle of sight, in this 3 to 6 mile range that you're working at fine tuning. Can you tell the audience sort of what it is you're doing with that?
I can tell them what I see when I look at the sky. I see that in this, all right, so when you're looking at the horizon, so you come off the horizon about 1 mile, okay? And then from that point, 3 miles in a circle above you to the other side, all around you, like a dome, is your circle of sight, okay? And then inside that 1 mile, you can see, I'm talking sea level here, okay? So inside that 1 mile on the horizon, you could see further 6, 7 miles. You could think, see land. You can see land further than you can in the sky. And the way that I know this is by studying these planes, the real planes especially. When they come into your circle of sight, they're only in for 1 minute and they're out. And the way that I know this is by studying these planes, the real planes. I just had some kind of.
It might be better now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think Ronnie's engaging some background visuals, but we can hear you.
Yeah, you're clear. You're clear.
Okay, I just heard myself talking for a second there. So we get that 3 mile circle of sight, and then you can see further at the horizon. And when you go up in elevation, you take that 3 mile circle of sight up with you, but you can see further onto land. Okay, so I find this out by going to high places, like skyscrapers, plain, large hills, and in between 3 and 6 miles seems to be where the stars, the sun, the moon is hanging out, so you can see lights further away. So you can see them at nighttime, and the sun and the moon are bright. You see them in that 3 to 6 mile range. And at the horizon, right, you get your refraction zone. And that's, well, there you go. There's a picture, right? That's an unfinished picture, by the way.
Yeah, but the thing is you've started it, and like Ronnie and I, Team Yahawashai, we're interested in helping complete this. And if there's anybody else out there that cares about the truth that would like to help uncover this, this whole time we've been asking for people to get involved, and this is what David was talking about. You actually have to do something.
Yeah.
This is something anyone can verify just by paying attention to the sky. I mean, may not be for everyone, but there are people out there that are interested, and there are people verifying this as well. And I'm leaning towards there's a layer in the sky about 2,000 to 4,000 feet above us that is where a lot of the cloud patterns, chemtrails, are being rendered to us in this layer. And when people look at the sky, you know, towards the horizons, they tend to look at it like it's up and down, you know, top to bottom, up and down, when it's actually just flat across. Oh, I'm getting some feedback, Ronnie. I don't know.
Oh, you shouldn't be. How do I sound? Can you hear me?
You're loud.
Yeah.
So what I notice, guys, I'll say back off the mic, is there seems to be what appears to be multiple layers of flat sky. So I'm noticing clouds traveling above me on your projection layer height.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's another flat section of clouds that is traveling above that. And then another section of clouds above that. So this is what I'm seeing. The other thing that I wanted to bring up is, why is it that when we're up in a plane at a certain altitude, there hasn't been anyone who's been ever able to take a photograph of the stars?
Yeah. Well, there is some good CGI out there online. There's only actually a few. Good question, though.
What do you guys think? Is there a projection layer for the stars as well that's pretty close?
It's a good question. It's why people should get involved, right? I mean, we need people who fly a lot and can, you know, discover these things.
Yeah. It's been a little while, but from what I remember of the high altitude balloon footage, it sounded like in the 50 to 60,000 foot range is when you stop seeing the projection of the stars, and it was like you were above them. So that would be that's like 10-mile range. So maybe those numbers, you know, aren't quite right, but it appears at a certain altitude you get above where they're projecting.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know. There's a lot of hot air level balloon tests out there, and they're all on these popular flat Earth channels, right? And they're all promoting their own stuff, and I just think we should look more carefully at all this high level weather balloon stuff. I just think there's something up there.
Yeah. Well, we should do our own. We know that it's COINTEL channels like the Globebusters that have run these experiments, and we know that we can't trust the results. So we need to organize experiments within a trusted community, people that we know.
Yeah, exactly. And the layers, you know, they all go in different directions, right? Sometimes you could look up and see, I've counted 4 before, and they're all going in different directions. So it's pretty wild.
In our circle of sight.
In the circle of sight. So when you see a chemtrail plane, like one of those little contrail buggers, and you see them coming up on your horizon, and then they take forever, you know, some of them last 10 or 15 minutes. Well, they're actually going through that full layer there, appearing closer to you, right? Because you can zoom right up in on them. I mean, if they're far away, shouldn't they be far away? Are you hearing me?
Yeah, totally.
Sorry, I was just looking at the chat right now. We had a couple of trolls.
Well, you know, definitely when you see a plane up in the sky, to answer the question, It does look like it's super far away, yet when we do a zoom test with the P900 locally, we're getting like really crazy results that match. To me, it seems like the original view of the P900 pushes the object away, but you're able to zoom in on things. So I'm thinking that the planes are actually only flying like a mile high, right? What do you guys think?
The real planes, yeah, they don't seem to be flying that high. And the planes that a lot of times you can go out on a blue sky day and you hear a plane, but you can never see it, right? So it's got to be outside your circle of sight. Why aren't you seeing it? I mean, it's common sense. And then these chemtrail planes, you can zoom in and read the serial numbers on them, and they look like they're 6-7 miles away from the ground. And then when you go up, it's the same thing. They go up.
Okay. Yeah, you've definitely done the way more of the chemtrail and the plane research. It's been your sort of specialty, would you say?
Yeah, it's something I can do. You know, I'm not into, just trying to research what I can do. You know, I like to be hands-on mostly. You know, this planes carrying no fuel, it's such a common sense thing to pick up on that I think anyone could be attracted to. Those wings aren't carrying 250 tons of fuel. I mean, I know how much volume is. I'm a pool guy, right? And I can't picture, a couple of Olympic-sized swimming pools in those wings right now.
Yeah, being supported by the aluminum skins that we've seen in the videos, right?
Yeah, they're all reinforced with ribbing inside, but the panels on the top and bottom are only, half-inch thick? I mean,
you want to go into some of the research that you've seen into these wings?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, so you start learning how the wings are put together and how they are testing them. You know, they got ribs that, and some of the rib sections are where they're holding the fuel. And when they go in to do the testing, they'll go in there they'll close off one section and they'll go into the adjacent rib and squirt soapy water, and they'll pump compressed air or helium into the sealed off section and watch for bubbles. And this is how they check for fuel leaks, right? They don't use liquid. I mean, and that's all they do. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense.
Did you see the video that QNP did that shows where one of these engines here had blown apart and the shrapnel had gone through the wing?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, he put up a decent video that sort of went into wing construction, and he showed where one of these engines had just blown apart. And of course, I made the connection when you showed that it was obvious that they're not carrying fuel on it. I made the connection that it's an over unity engine because of the research that we've been doing into this free energy. And so the over unity engine, the most important thing that they're always talking about with these is having a control mechanism, because once it goes over unity, it will continue to accelerate and increase in horsepower until it destroys itself. So you have to have a way of restricting it so it doesn't blow up. So what I could see would be is some guys, pilots really pushing it, and this engine, just blew itself apart, and it sent this shrapnel, and it went through the wings. And there's pictures of it, and you can see these tears through the metal and right through the struts and all that. But these are dry chambers.
Yeah. Is that what you're showing right there?
Well, this is a Jason Magard video. Great job filming.
Oh, yeah.
Look at this wing here. Does this, I read a comment yesterday that said that some of these wings are 2 meters thick. Look at the size of this guy's head. That plane is, the wing is like 2 of his heads. Like,
Yeah, the only part that's thick, right, is where it meets the fuselage, and it tapers off about halfway. It's about, I mean, they're telling you they put fuel all the way out towards the end, right, or 3/4 of the way.
Yeah.
But like you just said, look at it. It's only a half foot thick out there. I mean,
and it's sloped, so it's an even smaller angle when you try to measure in the inside.
and they got they got play, a 15-foot play up and down. That's pretty wild. You got 200 tons of fuel just flapping in the wind there.
And then how about the baffle system? Like, if you know anything about hauling fluids,
oh yeah,
you have to have super licenses to use a tanker, because could you imagine one of the banks that the plane would take, right? All that fuel would be weighing it down like a pendulum swing. So I have no idea how they do that, right, guys? Like,
yeah, and these oil trucks that you see carrying the 10,000 gallons, well, they're made up of 5 individual tanks, right? And they're sealed off, baffled off from each other. So when they go on and off the highway, they're not tipping over. Because if it was all one open container, the liquid would just overtake the truck.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I've seen concrete trucks flipped.
Yeah, it doesn't take much.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So what do you think? Do you think they burn any fuel on the planes?
I don't know. I really don't know.
So
you just
I have a hunch, and it's a hunch because the first trip that I took after being a flat earther, I was recording everything, and so I was in the airport and zooming in. I had my P900 and just trying to get close on everything. And the exhaust that comes out that back port on the plane, the APU exhaust, that really did appear like it was a hot flame because of the heat distortion that you see out of it. There is distortion that comes out of these jet engines, but it's not quite the same. So my hunch is that the APU unit might burn kerosene, jet fuel, kerosene. It's sort of a weird fuel connection. Have you noticed that at all?
No, I can't say that I have, other than I know when air is compressed mechanically, spiral down to really small, it can get superheated, and that energy can be tapped, and it can be turned into electricity. And many manufacturing facilities all over the world have air compressors that compress the air, and then the heat that's generated is the heat you look for, right? That you can extract the energy from. You can what can you do with heat? Well, you can create steam, right? Well, there you go. And so it's the heat that's generated that I see coming out there. And you think of the vortexing air in these little fan blades inside, they're ceramic, and there's a lot of them, right? Layer after layer after layer, all the way through. So it channels in. And I just know there's some kind of compression, vibration, and resonance going on that's allowing these planes to look like they're levitating through the air. They figured out levitation, right? I mean,
I think so. I really do think they figured out levitation and thrust all in that one engine. My hunch is that when it spins up, it goes over unity. But what we've learned about these engines is that there's a drive shaft that creates a counter rotation. All right, so one of the types of free energy that I'm really excited about is large flywheels. So you get these flywheels spinning, and they carry so much energy with them. But if you relate that to a gyroscope, we know that when we get a gyroscope wound up, that it becomes rigid in space. And so if you have one flywheel going this way and another flywheel going this way, and then there's a vibration to it,
Yeah.
My hunch is it would go rigid in space, and that
transfer of energy can just happen. Right?
Yeah, so it might actually.
I hear levitation, anti-gravity sort of technology. Is that what you're talking about?
It's interesting because we know that the COINTEL channels carry truth, yet at the same time promote lies and deception that make them easily discreditable. So we're always sifting through the COINTEL information to see what we can extract as true and what we reject as false.
What about what about common sense? These Airbus 380s can weigh as much as 1.2 million pounds. Okay, so what is that in something physical? Is that like a small bridge? I mean, is it really exploding fuel that is lifting a small bridge into the air? Or
And look at this shot you have here. I can see who has their windows open. I think I can almost see a person in this window. This is phenomenal.
That's not even zoomed all the way. I mean,
I see someone's face in the window.
Yeah, there's a guy out there who's doing some really good work, Jason Maggard. And he suggested flying by my location sometime and getting his P900 down on me and mine up on him to see if we can extrapolate anything from it. I thought that was a good idea.
I think it'll work. I flew when I flew into Austin, I filmed, the last couple thousand, well, the measurements are in question. So I did film the landing and there's no problem. Jason would have been able to film me at the same time. So imagine you could zoom in on somebody on the ground and vice versa.
So my hunch is that these engines are really sort of like bumblebee engines. Have you heard the physics problem with the bumblebee?
No.
Well, physics says that a bumblebee can't fly.
Oh no, yeah, they levitate.
Right. So this appears to be a bumblebee engine.
Yeah, well, I would not disagree with that at all.
Mm-hmm. And my mind just races with the possibilities of what we can do with this. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, mine races with, why is it hidden from us, and some negative there, but there's got to be a way of figuring out something. And I don't know if it's in the world right now and it's happening. I mean, we should have it. They shouldn't be allowed to keep the patents on it and keep everyone away from it. They should allow people to.
Yeah,
well, we're just going to have to do it. We're just going to have to build it, and if not everybody's a builder, so some of us are going to have to build it and sell it to the non-builders.
Well,
so
just to add on to the bumblebee theory, the fact that the bee can fly in a headwind at the exact same mile an hour that it can fly with the wind, and when it resonates at that frequency, it does levitate because the size and the mass of the bee is far too heavy for the tiny little wings that a bee has. So Jason is correct. When the bee flaps its wings quick enough, it then begins to levitate. So really what we're talking about here is almost like Jetsons type technology that they've been hoarding and lording. Like if you look at A Space Odyssey, they had tablets, iPhones, FaceTime. This was in the late 60s, right? So have they had this technology for 100 years? Both guys on the panel here, I'd like to hear the answer.
Simple yes for me.
Well, I've been thinking about this, and really the breakout for this free energy technology, I'm not sure when they had perpetual motion machines. They may have had that for a long time, but like HHO, really the only way they would have been able to harvest the HHO gas is to electrocute water. There might be other ways, but once they had electricity, surely somebody said, well, let's electrocute water and see what happens. And so bubbles came off and they're like, well, does it burn? and well, it burns, but it actually implodes, whereas everything else explodes. And right away they grab that secret. And in my opinion, we know that the Area 51, the UFOs, all that kind of stuff, by knowing that the Earth is flat, you can right away throw all that garbage away. But then the Area 51, what is it? Well, it's probably a research facility where they've been figuring out how to use this technology.
Yeah, it's top secret, mate. Yeah, they don't want anyone in there. And what was 9/11 all about, right? Just to keep you away from the airport. No one can get close enough to study that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got to do it from afar. No access at the airport. Seems like when you're in the terminals or, waiting to board a plane, you never get view of everything else, right? It's just what's immediately there.
So how do you reconcile the culpability of like the pilots and the fuel people and the mechanics and all those people?
I literally think a lot of them are just trained in their jobs, and they're doing their jobs like they do every day. They're going to their job, they're doing their job. And I mean, look, we didn't question this until a few weeks ago. I mean, why would they? I mean, unless you're really into like looking for truth and pounding at these topics, you're not really going to find it, are you? I mean, how many people out there are looking at clouds behind the sun, or they hear it and they won't even take that concept in or nothing, to just cast it aside? So I just think these people are being trained in their jobs, and I don't know, I think they need to be questioned and get their curiosity going, and then maybe they'll come out more, I guess.
Well, I know we gotta build something, and we gotta do it publicly. We gotta put it out on YouTube, make sure everybody's liked, subscribed, got the bell rung, so that we can build something as a community, share this all, do something simple enough that people out there that have construction capabilities of being able to cut metal, these types of things, assemble it together, use a drill, that you can build your own. This ideally is something that you yourself out there hearing this will make yourself.
I just wanted to rewind a little bit touch upon something that Enslaved by No Media was saying. The truth is, like everything else, everything is compartmentalized. These rulers and these principalities have known that if they can put, Jason on this job, Enslaved by No Media on this job, the Limitless channel on this job, and we never really worked together. You could pretty much hide anything. You could build anything, convince anybody of anything. And, my question is, why does the Creator harden all of the hearts and close all the eyes of these people? Is it because they don't care for the truth? Jason, and then Dave?
You find what you're looking for. You find what you're seeking. If you're not looking for it, you're not going to find it. And so it's really just a reflection of a person's core values and what's important to them. And if it's not important to them, they're not going to do it unless forced by somebody. So it just reflects who we are as individuals and how much the truth actually matters to us and how much it doesn't. Dave?
Yeah, I think anyone who experiences any kind of success in life, and it doesn't have to be like good, big success. It's just, good job, family, getting by, everything's okay, got good credit. I think people just get wrapped up in that, and they're just okay with it. And the thought of something ruining all that, which is all they got, is not something they're willing to do. Taking a risk is just not in people's repertoire. I've been trained their whole life not to take risks. Just go along with the status quo. Just do as you're told. You got a job, but how many people in the factory know all the jobs? Not one, right? When I was working in a circuit board shop. I was wet processing supervisor, and I got to look over. We had 7 different shifts. You had first, second, third, fourth, all the way up to 7. So I managed like 50 guys over 7 days, and everyone had a specific job, and they had to, show numbers, show responsibility for that one thing. And when enough people were out, it just made my job like super hard. I was the only one that was able to go to these different places and fill in the gaps, right? So not everyone knows how to do everything, even in one manufacturing facility. So everyone has a job, everyone's taught to do a job, and the overlords have successfully, programmed us. For a lack of
television, in my opinion, is the worst thing a person can probably do to themselves. And I noticed that you said that you barely ever catch it, and I try not to catch it ever, but once in a while, just
my kids will watch a movie here and there, and I'll, in the beginning, right, when they're the intros to all these movies, like the Disney movies and DreamWorks, and they're out, the kid sitting on the moon fishing, DreamWorks.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all hidden right there in all the movies right in the beginning. So Ronnie brought up that video there, the Gaso Lies with the gas tanks in vehicles. You think about the size of a gas tank in a motor vehicle. It gets us about 350 to 400 miles per tank full. And it's always been that way, right? It's your tank's 15 to 18 gallons in size. And it's been that way since cars come out, and no one's allowed to go a whole month without having to go back to the gas station. You got to go there once a week, right? So it's just systematically been training us our whole life. Mind control. Yes.
I got a question. I got a question from the chat from The Undiscovered Country. He writes, or she writes, you can't power a car using hydrogen. It implodes. So no compression whatsoever. Can you guys, Jason, do you want to take a stab at that one?
The Glowbusters have a nice looking thumbnail. It shows how powerful a vacuum is. It shows a train car that's what happens when it implodes. There is so much power in an implosion that it actually is it's fusion. The video I made points out that it's going for more molecules. When you have the HHO and then you burn it, there is fusion taking place, and it implodes.
Yeah, just a different way of doing it, right? Just get it figured out.
Isn't it the strongest force? It's like much stronger than explosion.
Yeah, well, it's HHO burns the hottest out of all gases, and it adjusts the temperature of its flame to the material that it's being applied to. I mean, can you see all the miracle properties of the HHO?
And it comes from water.
Yeah.
I mean, let's not forget it's water. It's not gasoline or, some petroleum. It's water.
We're abundantly filled. It's a water world, right?
Yeah.
There was a question in the chat that I would like to pose to you, David. Dennis L says, you guys were talking about these planes and chemtrails being demonic. Are they? You are the Sky Watcher. How would you answer that question?
I say they're demonic. I don't know what else they could be. I just think of a grand military conspiracy to frighten the people and spray chemicals on people and to get everyone in a hysteria. I mean, you don't see that, do you? I mean, 90% of the public is just not even aware that anything's going on at all. So if we're being sprayed with chemicals, and you see what happens to a bug when it's sprayed with chemicals, right? It just folds up and dies. I mean, if they've been spraying us for 20 years, wouldn't we be dead by now?
No.
They're not doing a good job, are they?
Yeah, and plus that they all live amongst us. Even the Morgul said that they'd be spraying their own children. And we had another question from Steve Cox. He says they don't want us to be able to light our homes for free. And interesting enough, they just had a famous movie that was put out about CERN, and I can't remember the name of it, but it was on Netflix, and the woman, the lead character, blew up her own house because she was quote unquote stealing energy because she built her own free energy device. So it is being totally blasted out there now that getting your own free energy is actually theft.
Yeah. Can you believe that? That's crazy. I mean, common sense, people. I mean, if you're able to do it, shouldn't you have it? I mean, if you follow, if you don't know you're intruding on a patent of a big company that's hiding it, and you develop it and make it, and you didn't know, I mean, come on. I mean, they're hiding it from us. You should be able to have whatever you want.
I'm sorry. I just want to call out a troll real quick. This Free Ball and Jane. He says they are blocking me, and every time on your guys' live chat, same treatment. Are you guys afraid of getting questioned? Those are his only two comments. So
we've never seen you before.
He's always commenting in my streams. I mean, my videos.
So I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm curious. You want to talk at all about now all of a sudden you've got this mass, because you've laid all these videos down, and this is the hot topic now. You want to talk about comments on your channel and that kind of stuff? Like,
I just want people to know that every Satanist, troll, shill, you name it, is coming and commenting, and they're trying to befriend me and stabbing me in the back, and everything else that you could imagine is going on there. So I'm not able to answer a lot of legit comments. I see them trying to hijack the story and send people down the different rabbit holes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, definitely see that. I mean, instantly this Coop Scoop, not sure who he is or what he is, but he immediately copied all my videos and put them up on his channel like they were his own. And at first he did it all. He didn't include any links back to mine. I commented, asked for a link, back to me. And I'm not sure if he ever did, but that seems to be where the large flat earth channels are going to for their information.
Mm-hmm.
There are a few others, like a Plain Truth. He's up, he gave me proper credit.
But said that they were putting tanks in the wings to fly the planes, and said that the chemtrails were still real, though, right?
Yeah, just mixing in disinformation, right? I mean, there's so many different levels to to discovering the truth, right? So, and everyone's at a different level. So I know you, Jason, and Ronnie, we see some pretty high level truths, right? Kind of see everything as a, you know, a reality thought. You know, we can control our reality with thoughts, and not a lot of people are, you know, think that way. You know, they think, you know, government's doing this, or, you know, some foreign countries doing it, or, you know, everyone thinks that chemtrails are government. It's not. It's demonic. It's out of this realm. It's something you really can't explain unless, you know, you die.
Well, there's things that we can learn along the way that we can share with others that can help them out. Like even as you were speaking that, you know, the conversation about cause and effect dawned on me that maybe this is, you know, something, if I do find time, put into a video. But you know, during my Eastern religion, new agey, that kind of research, I discovered that cause and effect is really a illegitimate concept, and that it's a mental construct that we're all taught and we all pray to and believe in, and it's causality, and it's actually irrational. It you know, a lot of us will assume cause and effect, the whole billiard ball, where the, you know, one ball hits another ball and it's cause and effect, and you just look for the thing that preceded something, and that was the cause, right? But just a real simple way to show the absurdity of this is, for all those billiard balls to move around like that, there had to have been billiard balls made, and there had to have been pool table, and there had to have been people to make those things, and, you know, there had to have been machines, and so literally, if you trace back every single cause and effect, every single thing that happens every single moment requires the previous moment all the way back to the start of time. So to try to isolate something in that string is just an absurdity, because it required the whole chain of events back to the beginning. So you can't say, well, this happened because of this. Well, you're just projecting that as the reason, because everything in all of time had to have happened for that.
Back to the beginning of time, right? That's what I was going to add in, right? You'd have to go back to the original sin in the garden, and then, okay, from this point on, these chain of actions resulted in me not doing this today. Like, it's just absolutely ridiculous, right? Great point, Jay.
Yeah.
And what's the upcoming videos? What's hot on the plate
for me?
Yeah,
I'm gonna put together a circle of sight video, getting it animated, so it'll be a little easier to follow for people, and just get out there what I see when I'm looking around, and looking for people to verify this, you know, prove me wrong.
Yeah.
So that's all we need.
Yeah.
I encourage people to prove me wrong, because that's how they're going to find out that what I'm going to show them is actually happening.
We've been trying for a while, and, you know, we've taken hard stances on difficult topics. That's incredible, brother. Anything else that seems you want to get out there?
Well, I'm in the pool business, so I'm about to break loose and continue with my business, and I'll probably actually be creating less videos going forward, because I gotta go out in the world and run my business and do what I do. So, just contribute where I can. I want to build something with HHO. I want to get a generator running, just like you guys. I want to do a lot of things, but requires bread, right? We gotta go out in the slave system, bring in those Satan dollars, and so we can do what we got to do.
The shekels.
Shekels.
Well, I do think that if we gain trust within the community, that we'll be able to crowdsource some of these projects and build them together. So I just want to continue to throw that out there. People that trust us, contact us, and we are accessible. We can talk by phone or Skype or whatever we got to do to get in contact with each other and actually build these things. Of course, with my resources, the money that I have, as soon as I can, I'm going to be building something and just showing the process all the way along, showing the failures, showing the successes, and can't wait to have something running.
Yeah, same here. Yeah. I'm right there with you. I'll help out in any way I can.
Well, if you can think of a way to direct the people that are coming to you back to us, we would like to answer as many questions as possible. Like the video that I played in the beginning, it's gonna probably be maybe twice as long, maybe about a 60-minute video. But I want to go through comments and address the major shill troll comments. The ones that say that the wings are 6 meters thick and all this kind of crazy nonsense. And
yeah, you can set up an apartment inside, and
yeah.
I'm surprised they don't have seats on the wings inside there. Get more money.
That's what I thought too, right? More money.
You got anything you want to add, Ronnie?
No, just that I just really think that this is great that Team Yahushua is still moving ahead. I just hope that we can continue to push the truth. I think it's great what Dave's brought out here. And then again, here at the back of this plane, this is the APU that you were talking about, right, Jason? This is the only place you think that heat and energy, steam, or whatever's coming out of the back?
Well, it'd be my guess that they might be using a liquid fuel to run the APU, which is the auxiliary power unit, which is a generator, which would produce the electric for the plane. It also can, on the newer planes, it runs a compressor so that if an engine does stall, it can be restarted in flight, or it also can be started on the ground without having to hook up the air hose from the airport.
Perfect. Yeah.
If we're wrong about this, I think the only way that we're going to be proven wrong is someone actually, dismantling a wing and letting the fuel come out of it and letting us see.
Yeah, we'll live stream it right to the channel. We'll go up there, and if we're proven wrong, it'll be there live, and we'll have to say we were wrong.
There's got to be a way of detaching it and showing liquid coming out of there, right? There's got to be a way of showing liquid. 250 tons of liquid. There's got to be a way of showing us it's there.
Yeah. Well, but see, that's the interesting thing. I know that the COINTEL channels like Wolfie 6020, who's a pilot, it's going to be interesting to see the disinformation that comes from him. It should be pretty obvious.
And Bob, who works at an airport, right?
Yeah. They're pilots to drive your mind into a rabbit hole. That's all. And they even say that in the A380 that there's fuel in the tail wings as well.
Yeah.
And they're just pumping it all around, and it's got to go.
Evenly distributed, right?
I think there's a lot of compressed air being pumped around and free energy being. You think about these big, giant planes, and some of them have little suites and hot tubs and whatever, right? And they have disco lights going on in there. I mean, that's a lot of electricity if you think about it. Everyone's got personal TV, all, you know, $1,000 lighting system in their little suite. It's just incredible how much energy is being created inside the plane.
Remember you said the window technology as well?
Yeah, so they have these suites that are in the middle row where a person doesn't have a live view from outside, but they have windows and they show you a virtual screen of what's happening outside and you don't know the difference. Thought that was funny.
It's incredible.
So yeah, I guess super fun that we actually had some people in the chat today commenting and carrying a somewhat similar conversation. Everybody does know in the chat now that when this video airs live on YouTube, the chat will run in concession with the show. So we hope that people get more involved so they know they can come back and see their comments and answers again.
Yeah, I just want to say there's a comment from Avenger of Horus. My friend today said the size of the wings of the A380 was like an apartment. I couldn't believe it, but couldn't counter the statement because I don't have any actual specs. Well, in the rest of the video that I'm putting out, I'm going to be showing how if you can use a program like SketchUp, you can download an A380 model that is full detail to scale, that you can measure the thickness of the wing anywhere you want. I've done this, and after the first knuckle where the wings sort of break like a wings bird and go out more level, they're just about 2 foot thick at the widest, and then they taper down to less than a foot at the end. So not room for an apartment in there.
Yeah. Maybe some wheels. Landing gear.
Well, not in that part of the wing. That's got to tuck into the body.
Yeah, it's got to intrigue anybody who looks into it. You know, the volume, the tonnage, the engines themselves being 6 tons each, and the wings themselves being, 60 tons. Both of them. I mean, think about the weight. Compare it. Do a search on Google. Like, what does 300 tons relate to? And then kind of imagine that, just the wings only.
Then us and our luggage and all that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dave. Really appreciate your quest for the truth and sharing it with us.
You're welcome. You guys wrapping it up?
I guess so.
Yeah, sounds good.
I thought it was great. Please, everyone, this is a Creative Commons broadcast. It is free to upload, share, thumbs up, and help us get this pushed out because we are super censored, except for congratulations to Enslaved by Media, who has broken the censorship with this amazing jet fuel plane hoax. Guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.